So this is where I talk about what's the voice in your head saying. I call her the bitch in my head. And I'm like, how do I turn this bitch into like something that I can use? Because so many people, I don't know about you, a lot of people like, be nice to yourself, talk nicely, don't be cruel. And I just found my natural instincts and inclinations, my character is to be mean. Mm-hmm. And so now, because I couldn't talk nice to myself, I gave my negative voice another reason to be mean to me because it was telling me, see, you can't even get me to shut up. So it's this like vicious spiral. So I was like, okay, I can't shut her up. How the hell do I take this kryptonite and use it as my superpower? And that's where I was like, with no emotion, sit there before I'm on stage, before I start getting anxiety, literally just take inventory and write down all the things my negative voice is saying. This isn't a place where I'm going to defend myself. I've got no emotion here. I'm just writing her down. So I start writing. Well, you're too scared. Your heart's going to be so much out of your chest that you're not going to be able to actually step on stage. All right. That's a valid concern. Like, I don't want to talk myself out of it. So before I get on stage, before I even travel, before like months and months beforehand, what are the things that I know that I can do to help build my radical confidence? Because remember, I don't feel confident. It's the radical confidence, to build my radical confidence, to step on stage. And now it comes to, okay, what are the tools that I can use? Music. Music is the most beautiful way of changing the chemicals in your body. You listen to the song Survivor by Destiny's Child. Sing those lyrics out loud. I dare anyone to feel badly about themselves. Like, it just becomes this like super motivating hype song. So the question right now is, what is that fear someone has? And what is their hype song they're going to use to help along the way? So having that hype song ready, having it on repeat, having it very easily accessible, number one. Number two, in fact, give a kid a cape. What do?
Start acting like a superhero.
Yes. So the power of clothes, the power of how you feel when you put something on is embedded in us as kids, but we don't use that as adults. So I was just grasping at straws and I was like, what can I do to help? And so I found this little cheapy Wonder Woman necklace online on Amazon and I started to put it on. And first of all, it was just like a fun little thing that I put on. And then afterwards, I was like, what if I can trick myself and build the habit of using this as an empowerment tool? What would that look like? Because again, I know I need tools to get onto stage. So I'm like, all right, what if every time I put this on, I look in the mirror and I repeat to myself, you're a badass. You're like Wonder. You're a badass. And repetition creates habit. Repetition creates habit. You do that long enough. Now, when I put this on, immediately I tell myself that and I don't think about it. So now, as I'm getting ready to get on stage, I start to put on my armor. So I put on the necklace. I have really chunky watches. And the reason is I kind of feel like cuffs, like Wonder Woman. Mm-hmm. So I've lent into all of these. Now, these are just the least versions, but I want people to think about what are those things for them that they can do, that they can start putting in, that they can cultivate a meaning and a feeling behind it. The last one was my boots. So I have these knee-high boots. And I'm like, every time I put these on, you know what? I kind of feel sexy. And I kind of feel confident when I put them on. So how would I lean into this? All right, what if I gave them a really cool, empowering name? So I end up calling them my bad bitch boots. And what happens is, and I even do that tone now, I didn't mean to, but I've adopted it. And so now every time I zip them on, in fact, as I was gearing up to getting on stage, I put them on and I remind myself, you got your bad bitch boots on, Lisa. You got your bad bitch boots on, Lisa. And so now, by the time I do the work, I do all the pre-work. So now by the time I get there, I'm still freaking petrified. But I've got all these little things, tactics that I've put into place that I can turn to give me that one little, tiny little extra boost. And, things like leading up to it, I did an alarm in my phone and I literally closed my eyes. I call it, you got this roulette. So my message to myself was, you got this, with a little like muscle emoji. But whatever phrase someone wants to put, what are the things they're trying to embody, think about, put that in your phone, close your eyes and spin the time. Now, you don't know when it's going to go off. And the idea of this is you do that enough times. You do that maybe once a week. You do different messaging. You do it over a month. It starts to subliminally tell yourself what you're made of. And so it's me against me. It's me encouraging myself. It's not me looking outwards. It's not me trying to get validation or confidence from anyone else except myself. And so now the voice in my head that was scared, I've now come up with a game plan. And the last thing, the one thing that I was like, okay, what else is she trying to tell me? Because she's my friend, and all friends, even at times of struggle, they tell you the truth. What if you freeze on stage?
Mm-hmm.
That is like the worst fear I have. That I get up there, that I've gotten on, where you listen to the song, you get up there, and then everyone's just staring at you.
Oh,
Right? Like, yeah. So I was like, okay, number one, practice. Because that's going to help eliminate the possibility of freezing. Because if you know your stuff so much, one of my favorite movies of all time is Karate Kid, the wax on, the wax off, right? You practice, you practice, you practice. So that by the time you actually get to the time you need it, you got it down pat. So I was like, okay, cool. Practice, practice. What does that mean? That means you have to write your script months in advance. That means you have to read it out every single day. That means I have to ask my husband to sit there and I'm going to do it in front of him. That means I'm going to set up my camera. I'm going to record myself. I'm going to rewatch myself back. I'm going to be my best friend. And my best friend is the person that's going to give me the wonderful critical advice on what to do better. So I'm going to now give myself my own advice. I'm then going to set up a whole thing with my team and I'm going to do a whole presentation in front of them. I'm then going to have them submit a feedback form on what they think, right? And so you literally practice. But you still may never guarantee you may not freeze. So, okay, I've practiced, I've done all the work, I've done all the pre-work, and now how do I think through when I freeze? Because my voice is really telling me that's my biggest fear. Have you ever seen those kids that when they like fall on the floor and they really scrape their knee and they're about to cry, but they kind of look at the parent and they're like, should I cry? It's really the same thing with mirroring, right? People mirror each other. And so right now I was thinking, like, if I was on stage and I froze, what is everyone else going to do? They're going to freeze. And now them freezing is going to make me freeze even more. And it becomes, again, this vicious cycle. So Lisa, have a game plan that if you're on stage and you freeze, what are you going to do? Because I can't trust my emotions because I know my emotions would just want to literally run off stage.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you going to do? And so I just said to myself, Lisa, you're going to laugh. And I was like, okay, but I don't know what mistake I'm going to make. It doesn't matter. You're just going to laugh at yourself. That's it. Because you're not perfect, Lisa. And so if you make a mistake, it'll be wonderful for everyone to see. You can just laugh at yourself.